Welcome to Declassified Deep Dive, where unredacted files reveal hidden truths. Let's uncover the secrets. I'm your host, Raj, and each week we explore a new secret deep dive.
All right, so today we're diving deep into some seriously fascinating Cold War history,
Yeah.
We're talking about Project Artichoke.
Yeah.
And this is a CIA operation so shrouded in secrecy that even like the wildest spy movies look tame by comparison.
Right.
We've got a whole stack of declassified documents, historical analysis, and even some alternative theories that are kind of floating around YouTube.
Ooh.
My big question is, how far did the U.S. government actually go
Right.
to control the human mind?
Yeah, like
It's a
that.
big question.
What were they thinking?
Let's find out.
Yeah.
Let's find out.
Okay,
So-
it all started.
Yeah, it all began in this really chilling atmosphere in the early 1950s.
Okay.
The Cold War was in full swing,
Right.
and the threat of communism really had the U.S. on edge.
Yeah.
Like they were looking for any advantage they could possibly get.
So, enter Project Artichoke,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
I've heard about its successor, MKUltra.
But Artichoke seems even more mysterious.
Oh, for sure.
Like, what was the CIA even hoping to achieve
Well,
with this program?
Artichoke was all about exploring these unconventional methods of interrogation
Okay.
and control.
Huh.
So think about like truth serums and hypnosis
Yeah.
and even the possibility of creating sleeper agents,
Okay.
like these individuals who can be programmed to carry out actions
Right.
without any memory of what they actually did.
So like a real-life Manchurian candidate.
It sounds like science fiction.
Yeah.
But the CIA was completely serious about it.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a little unsettling.
it is.
Like, that was one of their goals.
That was one of their goals.
Yeah.
Yeah, as unsettling as that is,
Yeah.
the idea was to create this individual that could be programmed
Right.
to carry out orders,
Mhm.
potentially even assassinations,
Yeah.
without any conscious awareness of what they were doing.
Wow.
It was a long shot, but they really poured resources into exploring this possibility.
It's mind-blowing to think that they even considered this,
I know.
let alone actively, like, researched it.
Yeah.
So what kind of methods were they using
Yeah, what were they doing?
in these experiments?
They were exploring a pretty wide range of techniques.
Okay.
One of their primary focuses was drug-induced interrogation.
Mm-hmm.
So they would experiment with various substances
Okay.
like LSD, heroin, and barbiturates
Okay.
to see how they could manipulate mental states
Uh-huh.
and potentially extract information from people.
LSD, I mean, I know it was the era of, like, experimentation,
Yeah.
but that just seems like a pretty extreme approach.
It was a very curious time.
Yeah.
There was a lot of curiosity surrounding LSD.
Right.
And the CIA believed that it could be the key to unlocking like these hidden truths,
Uh-huh.
or even breaking down someone's resistance to make them more susceptible
Yeah.
to suggestion.
Wow.
They even dosed their own agents with LSD,
Hold on, wait. They
Wow.
tested it on their own agents.
often without their knowledge or consent.
That seems incredibly risky.
Yeah, it was.
Not to mention ethically.
Yeah, ethically, it's very questionable.
Yeah.
It's very questionable.
Look, what was the rationale behind that?
They claimed that it was to study the effects of LSD on unsuspecting individuals.
Oh, okay.
But it really raises these serious questions about
Yeah.
how far they were willing to go
Yeah.
in the name of research.
In the name of research.
Right.
So the potential for abuse in this scenario is pretty clear.
Oh, yeah, that's very clear.
It makes you wonder what else might have gone on.
Yeah, behind closed doors.
Yeah, behind closed doors.
Right.
Speaking of unsettling discoveries,
Yeah.
there's this chilling quote that I came across from a CIA document, and it says, "Can we get control of an individual to the point where he will do our bidding against his will and even against fundamental laws of nature,
Right.
such as self-preservation?"
That's a big question.
That's a heavy question.
Yeah.
So, were they successful? Like, did they ever create this, like, super soldier, this
Yeah.
mind-controlled weapon they were looking for?
Despite all of their efforts
Mm-hmm.
and ethically questionable experiments,
Right.
there's really no concrete evidence that they ever actually managed
Okay.
to create this perfectly obedient, mind-controlled assassin.
Huh.
It seems like the human mind is a lot more complex
Right.
and resilient
Yeah.
than they initially thought.
Okay, so maybe the super soldier was a little bit of a pipe dream.
Yeah.
But what about other applications?
Yeah.
Did they find any practical uses for the techniques that they were developing?
This is where things get really intriguing.
Okay.
When they were clearing out the Artichoke office, they discovered a rather peculiar inventory.
Okay.
It wasn't just the usual files and lab equipment. They found things like self-injecting devices,
Okay.
similar to those used in like nerve gas attacks.
Self-injecting devices.
Yeah.
That sounds incredibly ominous.
It does.
What would they need those for?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And it really raises a lot of possibilities.
Yeah.
It suggests that they were exploring the potential of using such devices
Oh, yeah?
for covert operations.
Uh-huh.
Like maybe to silently incapacitate or control targets.
Wow, that takes us even deeper
It does.
into this world of espionage and covert action.
Yeah.
It's like peeling back the layers of a really complex onion. On top of the self-injecting devices, there's this whole list of drugs they had.
Yeah.
Wolfia serpentina, thorazine, methamphetamine.
It's wild.
It's like a pharmacopoeia of intrigue.
Yeah.
What were they doing with all of those substances?
So each drug had its own potential applications.
Okay.
And it seems that they were exploring this whole range of possibilities.
Right.
Wolfia serpentina, for example,
Okay.
that can induce a state of pseudo-Parkinsonism.
Uh-huh.
Like imagine tremors and rigidity.
Wow.
It could make someone incredibly vulnerable
Okay.
to manipulation.
So they were interested in a drug that could potentially make someone more passive and suggestible.
That's right.
That's a pretty chilling thought.
It is.
What about the other drugs?
Yeah.
Thorazine and methamphetamine.
Those are interesting ones too.
Seems like they would have very different effects.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thorazine is a really powerful antipsychotic,
Okay.
potentially useful for subduing someone or disorienting them.
Uh-huh.
And then methamphetamine
Yeah.
is a stimulant.
Right.
Could induce this heightened alertness or maybe even hallucinations.
So it seems like they were trying to assemble this toolkit
Yeah.
for manipulating mental states.
Yeah, like a whole toolkit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Each drug serving a very specific
Yeah.
and often disturbing purpose.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a chilling glimpse into this world of clandestine research
Right.
and Cold War paranoia.
Yeah.
They were clearly willing to push the boundaries to gain an edge
Yeah.
in this global struggle.
It's fascinating how this all ties into the MKUltra program.
It does.
Let's talk more about that connection after a quick...
Yeah, let's take a break and come back to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've established that Project Artichoke was like this deep dive into the darkest corners of the human mind.
It really was.
So where did it all lead?
Yeah, where did it go?
What happened after the CIA shut down the program?
Well, that's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
Artichoke officially ended in the mid-1950s,
Oh, okay.
but the research didn't just disappear.
Right.
A lot of people believe it morphed into something even bigger
Okay.
and even more shadowy.
Okay.
Project MKUltra.
MKUltra.
Yeah.
That's a name that sends shivers down your spine.
It does.
It's become synonymous with Cold War mind control experiments.
Right.
It's been featured in countless books, movies, video games.
It really has.
Yeah.
It's part of our cultural lexicon now.
It really is.
A symbol of government overreach and just clandestine research.
So is MKUltra just Artichoke with a new name? Yeah.
And a bigger budget.
It was more than just a rebranding.
Okay.
It definitely expanded on the research from Artichoke, but it also branched out into new and even more unsettling territory.
Like what?
They went deeper into sensory deprivation, electroshock therapy,
Wow.
and even ventured into psychic phenomena.
Wait, psychic phenomena?
Yeah.
You mean like ESP and telekinesis?
That's right.
The CIA was actually researching that stuff.
It might sound kind of outlandish,
It does.
but they were exploring every avenue,
wow.
hoping to harness the power of the human mind for espionage and psychological warfare.
So like they were trying to weaponize the human mind.
In a way, yes.
That's why.
They were particularly interested in remote viewing,
Okay.
which is the ability to see distant locations just using your mind.
Like that's straight out of a sci-fi movie.
It is.
Did any of these like far out experiments actually yield any results?
So that's a question that's still kind of shrouded in secrecy.
Okay.
A lot of the MKUltra documentation was destroyed.
So it's hard to really determine the extent of their findings.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There are claims of some successes, but a lot of that evidence is still classified.
It's a classic case of government secrecy,
Yeah.
creating this breeding ground for all these conspiracy theories.
Right.
You know, if they had nothing to hide, why would they destroy the records?
Exactly.
It just fuels all the suspicion.
It does.
But getting back to Artichoke,
Yeah.
there's one aspect that we haven't really touched on yet,
Okay.
the ethical implications.
Right.
All of these experiments just sound incredibly invasive
Yeah.
and potentially really harmful.
They were.
Did anyone within the CIA raise concerns about the morality of what they were doing?
That's a really critical point.
Yeah.
The ethical considerations surrounding Artichoke are huge.
Yeah.
I'm talking about experiment that involved deception,
Right.
manipulation,
Uh-huh.
and potential psychological harm.
Yeah.
It's really difficult to reconcile these actions with any notion of informed consent.
Right.
Or even just basic respect for human dignity.
It's a dark chapter in American history
It is.
that raises these serious questions about government overreach.
Yeah.
And the limits of scientific inquiry.
For sure.
It's amazing how much we still don't know about Artichoke.
I know, it's incredible.
Even after all these years,
Yeah.
do you think we'll ever uncover the full truth about what happened
Mm,
during those Cold War experiments?
that's really hard to say.
Yeah.
There are still so many classified documents, unanswered questions.
Yeah.
But the fact that we're even having this conversation,
Right.
digging into these dark corners of history,
Uh-huh.
I think that's a testament to the importance of transparency
Right.
and accountability.
It's a reminder that we always need to be vigilant
Yes, we do.
about protecting individual liberties
Absolutely.
and holding those in power accountable for their actions. So
Yeah.
what can we really learn from all of this?
Yeah. What's the takeaway?
What's the takeaway message for our listeners?
I think the most important takeaway is that the quest for knowledge and power it always has to be tempered by ethical considerations.
Yeah.
Artichoke serves as this really stark warning about the dangers of unchecked ambition
Right.
and the importance of safeguarding human rights,
Yeah.
even in the face of perceived threats.
It's a story that resonates even today
It does.
as we grapple with issues of privacy, surveillance,
Right.
and the potential for technology to be used for nefarious purposes.
Absolutely.
You know, Artichoke may be a relic of the Cold War,
Yeah,
but its legacy lives on.
it really does.
But before we wrap up, I want to go back to that inventory list
Oh, yeah.
we were talking about.
The one they found in the office.
Yeah, those self-injecting devices.
Yeah.
The whole array of drugs.
Right. It's also cryptic.
It's also cryptic.
Yeah.
What do you make of it?
Yeah.
Was the CIA trying to develop some kind of toolkit?
It's definitely possible.
Yeah.
Imagine a scenario
Okay.
where an agent needs to discreetly incapacitate a target
Uh-huh.
or influence their behavior without leaving a trace.
Okay.
A self-injecting device with a carefully selected drug
Right.
could be a powerful tool
Yeah.
in that type of situation.
That's a chilling thought.
It is.
But it fits with the overall picture we've been painting of Artichoke.
it does.
You know, a program that pushed the boundaries of science and morality
Yeah,
in pursuit of its objectives.
that's right.
And the fact that we're still piecing together this puzzle decades later
That's wild.
really speaks to the enduring power of secrecy
Yeah.
and the challenges of holding those in power accountable for their actions.
Absolutely.
It's a story that's both fascinating and unsettling,
It is.
a reminder of just the complex and often contradictory nature of human ambition.
Yeah.
Before we get too lost in the shadows of the Cold War,
Okay.
let's shift our focus
Yeah, let's do
to
it.
the specific techniques that were used in
Yeah.
these experiments. We've talked about the goals of Project Artichoke and how it kind of set the stage for MKUltra. Yeah.
But now I want to get into the nitty-gritty.
Okay, let's do it.
The actual techniques they were using
Yeah.
to try and crack the human mind wide open.
Yeah, it's a journey into the darker side of scientific exploration.
Yeah.
Imagine a world where scientists are using drugs, hypnosis, even extreme methods like electroshock therapy,
Right.
all to try and control human behavior.
It sounds more like a horror movie than a history lesson.
It really does.
Let's start with the drugs.
Okay.
I mean, we've mentioned LSD,
Yeah.
but what other substances were they experimenting with?
They were looking at a vast array of psychoactive drugs,
Okay.
each with its own unique effects on the mind.
Yeah.
Besides LSD, they used heroin,
Uh-huh.
morphine, and barbiturates.
Okay.
These are drugs that could induce sedation, drowsiness, even a loss of consciousness.
So they were essentially trying to drug people into
Yeah.
a more suggestible state,
In a sense, yes.
kind of like a chemical lobotomy.
The goal was to lower inhibitions.
Reduce resistance to suggestion
Uh-huh.
and potentially even extract information or implant false memories.
Wow.
It's a pretty chilling thought.
Yeah.
especially considering they were doing this at a time
Right.
when the long-term effects of these drugs were so poorly understood.
It's a stark reminder of how much we've learned about the brain
Yeah.
and the potential dangers of manipulating its chemistry.
Absolutely.
But it wasn't just about sedation, was it?
No.
They were also interested in stimulants,
Yeah,
like cocaine and methamphetamine.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Stimulants could produce heightened alertness,
Okay.
increased energy, even euphoria.
Right.
But they could also trigger anxiety,
Uh-huh.
paranoia in some cases, even psychosis.
Wow. So
Right.
it seems like they were interested in
Yeah.
the full spectrum of mental states.
Full spectrum, that's right.
From the depths of sedation
Yeah.
to the heights of manic energy.
It's like they were trying to map out
Right.
the entire landscape of human consciousness.
Yeah, searching for those points of vulnerability
That's
where they
just-
could exert control.
Precisely. It was this relentless quest
Yeah.
to decode the human mind, to find the keys
Right.
to its inner workings, and unlock its secrets.
Let's move on to hypnosis.
Okay.
They seemed particularly fascinated with its potential.
Yeah, they were very interested in it.
What were they hoping to achieve with hypnosis?
Hypnosis played a really central role in Project Artichoke.
Okay.
They believed it could be used to enhance interrogation techniques,
Uh-huh.
create amnesia,
Mm-hmm.
and potentially even program individuals
Yeah.
to carry out actions without conscious awareness.
So the whole Manchurian Candidates scenario again.
Yeah, that keeps coming up, doesn't it?
Yeah, were they seriously trying to create mind-controlled assassins?
The idea of the sleeper agent
Right.
was a recurring theme throughout all of these experiments.
Yeah.
They wanted to know if it was possible to implant suggestions or commands deep within a subject's subconscious. Commands that could be triggered later
Right.
by a specific cue or signal.
Like planting a mental time bomb in someone's mind.
Yeah, it is.
Just waiting for the right moment to detonate it.
It's terrifying.
It's a terrifying thought.
It raises all sorts of ethical questions
Yeah.
about free will, consent, and the boundaries of acceptable influence.
Absolutely.
You know, someone can be manipulated to act against their own volition.
Right.
How do we hold them accountable for their actions?
It's a slippery slope,
It is.
and one that's hard to grapple with.
Yeah.
But we can't shy away from these questions.
No, we can't.
We need to understand the potential for abuse.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to these powerful technologies that can influence the human mind.
Right.
We also need to talk about the more extreme techniques they were using.
Yeah, like what?
Like electroshock therapy and sensory deprivation.
Right.
I mean, these methods just seem downright barbaric.
They were barbaric.
Yeah.
Electroshock therapy, which was a pretty controversial treatment for mental illness, even at the time,
Okay.
was used to induce seizures,
Right.
potentially disrupting brain function
Yeah.
and altering memory.
And sensory deprivation
Yeah.
involved isolating individuals in environments devoid of light,
Yeah.
sound, and touch.
Right. No stimulation at all.
Creating disorientation and heightened suggestibility.
Exactly.
It's hard to imagine the psychological toll those experiences must have taken.
Yeah, it's tough to think about.
And the subjects.
It's no wonder there are ethical concerns
Right.
raised about these experiments.
So after all these experiments, all these attempts to control the human mind,
Yeah.
did they actually achieve any success?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Did they actually create their Manchurian candidate?
Yeah.
Well, that's still debated today.
Okay.
The declassified records are incomplete.
Right.
A lot of the details are still classified.
Yeah.
There are claims that they achieved some level of success,
Mm.
but definitive proof of their ability to create mind-controlled assassins,
Mm-hmm.
that's still elusive.
So the mystery continues,
It does.
but I think the bigger point here is not whether they succeeded or failed,
Right.
but the fact that they were even willing to go to such lengths in the first place.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah.
It really speaks to their ambition.
Right.
And frankly, the hubris
Yeah.
of those who believed that they could unlock and control the secrets of the human mind.
Project Artichoke serves as this really stark warning
Yeah, it does.
about the potential for abuse when power and scientific curiosity collide.
It's a potent reminder to be vigilant about protecting individual liberties
Yeah,
and holding those in power accountable.
absolutely.
It also raises these really profound questions
Hmm.
about the nature of consciousness,
Right.
the limits of free will,
Yeah.
and the ethical boundaries we need to establish as we go
Yeah.
deeper into these uncharted territories of the
Right.
human mind.
Well, I think we've officially, descended into the depths
Like so.
of Project Artichoke.
Yeah.
It's been a fascinating and at times unsettling exploration
Yes.
of the Cold War's secret quest to control the human mind.
For sure.
It's clear that this story is far from over.
Absolutely not.
There are still so many unanswered questions.
Yeah.
So many secrets waiting to be uncovered.
And as new information comes to light,
Right.
we'll continue to grapple with the ethical implications
Yeah.
and the enduring legacy of these clandestine experiments.
The quest to understand the human mind continues.
It does.
But hopefully we've learned from the mistakes of the past.
Hopefully.
And we'll chart a more ethical course in the future.
I hope so too.
It's a journey that demands both curiosity and caution.
It does.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Until next time, keep exploring,
Yeah.
keep questioning, and never stop seeking the truth.